Number one, use a weight that's easy to handle. So you can say, form first. Let's get the exercise down. Okay.
So, nice and low, he's going really deep, big stretch, big flex.
Yeah, so many people don't finish the exercise. I'm going to show you at the end of this set what they do. They don't finish up because they concentrate on how many pounds are on the bar, not how much intensity is in the muscle, okay? It's about what's going on in here that counts, not what's going on out here. Really focusing on it. Because they start burning pretty quickly. Especially when you're following those top range of the motion at the stretch in the bottom. That's where the burn is, folks.
Yeah, doing that flexing part is really what makes this exercise work like gangbusters. So,
as opposed to going like this. I see lots of people bouncing lots of weights like this. I can do this till the cows come home. There's no exercise in that. It's about intensity. Every inch of every rep of every set. That's the intensity that you need to bring to this, okay? So back over to hyperextensions. Excuse me.
Good morning.
Good morning. So what's interesting now that I'm doing this sequence, my calves already got a little bit of a pump. And as I stretch, you're going to start to notice where the tie-ins are. Calves, hamstrings, lower back, they're all tied together. And every time I'm doing this, I'm actually feeling the stretch in my calves.
Yeah, and there was some of that going on with the pull downs and the pullovers, right? Your lats were a little tired.
Absolutely.
I was really watching your lats work as you were doing the pullovers.
Absolutely. Especially when you bump up to the high rep range at the end, you really start getting into the field because as the weight goes up, you start concentrating more on lifting. As the weight goes down, you're concentrating more on contraction. So just notice those mental points in your training.
And I think this kind of working out really activates a lot of full body growth. You're just hitting so many muscles from different angles. Okay. So notice Wade's knees are bending a little bit. That's great. So this exercise works everything from your hamstrings to your glutes to your lower back to your traps. So it's a great exercise. Just be careful. Make sure you have a big arch in your back. That's what keeps you safe. Always have a big arch in your back as you're doing this exercise.
I'm driving the hips backwards
and see Wade's back
as I go down.
It's arched all the time. Very important. Arch your back all the time when doing back exercises. And you get such a better contraction when you have your back arched.
Absolutely.
It's night and day.
Mm-hmm. That way you lock your spine into place. You got all kinds of muscles going up and down the spine. Some of them are this long, some of them are this long, this long.
Yeah, your spinal erectors. And if you work those out, you'll never have back problems.
You'll also get those nice thick columns right along your back muscles, right? You look at a guy that's been training hard with free weights and stuff, he's got that thickness right along the spine, like two big pillars that are supporting the spine. And that's one of the big differences you'll see with the old-time lifters and a lot of the new guys today. The old-time lifters that use the barbells and dumbbells like we use in Mastery, they're getting those thick fibers, those columns where real power and real strength is. And that translates into everyday life. You can use this for everything. Whether lifting couches, picking up heavy things. So it's so interesting. There's so many bodybuilders now that are really strong on exercises, but they don't know how to work as a unit. So some guy's a $135 and he's out lifting a 250-pound guy moving because the bodybuilder has no functional strength.
I just want to make a comment about pain. As you're doing calf exercises, it's normal that the burn kicks in, as you can see in Wade's face here. But that's an opportunity. Just kind of distance yourself from your body, and you just do the exercise, and you kind of go in a safe place in your mind, where it's a fun place.
I think one of the best illustrations of that was Muhammad Ali. Mm-hmm. Muhammad Ali, if you read his book, well, he had the big fight that happened in Zaire when he's fighting George Foreman, and George Foreman's pounding on him, and he's in a lot of pain. And so what Ali said, well, they asked him, how did you get past that? He says, well, when I get hurt in the ring, and I'm really hurt, and he goes into the clown room. In other words, he goes into this mental space where he's in a clown room, and he's trying on suits, or he's spending time. Now, that sounds kind of crazy, But that's a pain management strategy, and everybody develops their own way. So you're focusing on the pain and how much it hurts. You're never going to push your muscle to the limit. But if you're focusing on my goal or your space or wherever it is that you can separate yourself from this pain, observe it. Stay on the edge of it, but don't be a slave to it.
And we'll be spiritual here for a second and just say that we're not our bodies, and that's a great place for you to realize it.
Absolutely. You know, we work out and we love lifting weights and we like looking at it. That's not who you are. You're much greater than anything. You're tapping into that spirit. That's what sport's all about.
And I think that's what made Tom Platz so special, was his ability to go to that zone where it was really a spiritual exercise, a mental exercise, not a physical zone. That's why he pushed his body so far. A lot of strong powerlifters love this exercise because it just builds an incredible lower back and hip.
Yeah, I see some of those guys lifting like 315, 400 pounds on that exercise. I don't recommend you start with those weights. You know, build up to it.
Yeah, I think that that exercise can also improve some weak points in people's squats.
Absolutely, because a lot of times when you're squatting, it's the hips that are giving out.
Yep.
You know, so they're not stable. Your hip joints, you might have the quad power to lift or the glute power, but you don't have the stabilizer muscles. Most often, it's the stabilizer muscles that give out on a big lift.
Absolutely.
Not the main muscles. You're only as good as the weakest link in the chain.
And Louis Simmons is the #1 powerlifting coach in the world. His strategy is always to work his clients' weak points big time because of that exact point.
So now that burn's really building up.
Notice how Wade is pausing at the top a little, like a split second, which is really creating an intense contraction.
Now you look at that. That's only 45 pounds on that machine. And I can tell you, I'm really feeling that in my calves. So it's about getting that last 2 inches on the top and the last 2 inches on the bottom that make the difference. So we got one more round on these. Let's hit it again, same thing. You know, normally I might be going a little heavier, but for illustrative purposes, I'm gonna go deep into my mind and really focus.
And I want to say that when you're doing exercises like this, you want to master the technique before you start putting on the weights. So even do a couple of workouts with some light weights, 2 or 3 workouts, and when you do feel comfortable and you feel that you're mastering it, then you can start putting on the weights progressively. And if you do it that way, the odds of you getting injured are almost zero. So how does that feel, Wade?
Oh, it feels awesome. It's funny. One of the things, if you don't know how to do these exercises, you want to make sure you pick up the Elite Exercise Performance Manual, where I've got all those explanations in there with the illustrations. And before every workout, like when we were back in the changing room, review those exercises. You know, even today, maybe once a month, I'll go back in and review the exercises. And I'll go, oh yeah, just to re-jog the memory, right? Review.